Aarron Trujillo today. How do you like the podcast studio?
This is it's pretty cool. I'm looking at the lights here, and it's legit. I mean, and it got the fireplace going. It's nice and toasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these would be good with third angle, because when we're talking about the whole room, they get that third angle on it, you know. Talking to the producer, Sterling Miller. Got to make sure we credit him here today. And
making it sound good.
Yeah, making it sound good, making it look good. Yeah, he'll work with our video editor to make sure that it gets edited, correctly and that kind of thing. So, Sterling works for the Media Lab also. He kind of heads up business development there. Cool. So, yeah. Right. Let's thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
It's really great to have you.
Thank you.
Nice, cold, snowy day.
I know.
I got my Carhartt today.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks again for coming in, and let's talk about, what you do, Aaron. I mean, I think some people know that you are a JobNimbus sort of consultant. You're a sort of a roofing general consultant as well. Like as far as my sense of you is that you are a roofing consultant, and with a sort of a specialization in JobNimbus customization. Is that an accurate description of what you do?
Mostly, I think it's broader than that. I worked some time in roofing as well as around process engineering and in regards to systems in general. And I think I'm very familiar in the JobNimbus process flow and that system, but I also know others, and it really comes down to that understanding process and systems and how it can better your company and build, really at the end of the day, a real nice flow within your systems and within your organization that will help grow is really what I specialize mostly in.
Gotcha. Okay. And
I just happen to know also the technical side of JobNimbus and these systems as well, and actually how to build them out as well.
So we're going to definitely get a little more into that. But I did want to jump into some things that probably no one really knows about you, like some of your personal life, if you're okay to opening up a bit. And sure. One of them is, I think you were born in the Denver area. Is that right?
I was, yeah. Born and raised Denverite. Yeah, for sure.
And you went to, where'd you go to school here?
I actually, a couple places. So I went to Bear Creek High School in Lakewood, spent about a year over Rangeview in Aurora, and actually ended up graduating at Bear Creek in 96.
Man, you and I are the same age. I'm 43.
Me too. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So you were here when all the Columbine shit happened, right?
I was, yeah.
That was like in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. It's literally, it was around.
How old were you then? I didn't even realize that.
I was maybe 21. I was out of high school by that
time. You were out of high school.
Yeah,
okay.
I graduated in 96, and that was 2000 or 99? Can't remember.
I don't remember, but for some reason I was thinking you might have been still in high school when that happened.
No, I wasn't. But yeah, I lived in that whole area for sure. Grew up and spent a lot of time in Lakewood and in that area.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. And so you went to high school here. You sort of grew up skiing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You got into some trouble.
Did I?
When you were younger? Is that when you started getting into trouble?
No, actually, I was this kind of nerdy kid and habitual. I had girlfriends that I would commit phobe, and I would just have girlfriends, and I was what I did, and I would.
You were kind of a nerdy guy in high school?
I was a nerdy guy. Yeah, I was. I was in orchestra.
Okay.
I played violin since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And just played in all the school orchestra and in the musicals and that kind of stuff. And
were your parents together?
No. My mom and dad separated when I would say 2 years old. I lived with my mom up until I was a freshman in high school, and I made the switch to move with my dad. That's what moved me to Lakewood.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
That's tough.
I wasn't ready. Where in Arvada, and some people know in our age bracket is we still had junior highs back then and versus middle schools. So I went to North Arvada Junior High, and I would have been the last freshman or ninth grade class there. But since I moved with my dad, I kind of got thrown into the high school world without any kind of understanding of it. So that was pretty crazy. But they moved with my dad and lived with him throughout we moved back and forth from Aurora back to Lakewood. That was kind of tough too. Changing high schools, I don't recommend it. If you're thinking moving your kids during high school years, it is really tough. If anything, you learn how to make friends as fast as possible, but they're usually kind of like, almost like an Army brat, kind of like, can't get too close. So that's kind of my whole high school.
My wife changed in high school, and she said the same thing. It's the worst thing you can do for a kid is making them change in high school. I went to ninth grade opportunity school because I got in a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah,
and then but I did move from my mom to my dad as well, and I just remember how hard that was too, and that's kind of I know that it's tough, and then I changed a bit and jumped around in high school because like I did get in quite a bit of trouble and had to change schools and that kind of stuff. And but I ended up finally graduating. This is the one high school, Durango High School. So, and then did you end up? So you graduated high school, right? And then you ended up going to college right after, or no college? Have you gone to any college at all?
No. Well, a little bit of like Arapahoe Community College, but. No, I was blessed with my dad's work ethic. I decided not to go to college, so day after graduation, my dad gave me a bill of this is how much you owe in rent, and this is how much you owe in the expenses of the house. Wow! And so I love this story that next day I put on a tie, and I drove downtown, and I just started riding elevators is what I call it, and every door that was open, I walked in it and I said, "Hey, are you hiring?" And by the end of the day, I had a job at a legal printing company, and I was 18 years old, and we're in a title work every day. It was interesting, but since then, I just kind of my mentality has always been, you get a job, and I just need to be the best at this job. So I made copies of legal documents. They just bring these big old boxes of legal presidents and all that kind of stuff, and I would just make legal copies of it. And so I had to be the best at that. And and learn everything about the job, everything regarding the printer, how to fix a printer. I was just give me everything. I'm going to be the guy. I have to work harder than everybody that might be going to college. I have to work harder for this. And that's been my mentality throughout. And
you said your dad had a work ethic. What did your dad do?
My dad actually is a car painter his whole life, and painted cars, one of the best.
A body guy?
Body guy. No, he full paint jobs. Yeah, but that's what he did. He was like a chemist when it comes to that. He literally could mix paint in any color set. He'd get a tag of what the paint is and be able to mix it without anything. Just was brilliant at it. And but every day of his life, work is just hitting that grind. And that's what I learned from is like, going to the workforce, I had to if I was going to pay the bill.
Yeah. Is that? Do you think that was part of why your parents split up?
No.
Working too much?
I think definitely not that. It was more around alcoholism and that kind of stuff. And
that is part of your family background.
Family, absolutely part of my family background, including myself. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Let's jump a little bit into that. So you started working, you skipped college, you kind of went, and then let's kind of change gears into transitioning into the roofing business.
Yeah.
Because part of that is you are in recovery from alcoholism.
I am.
For a long time, right? For
a little bit, yeah. 8 years now.
8 years, okay. 8 years, all right. So what happened there? I mean, you got into some trouble, obviously, but you got in more trouble in your adult years.
Oh yeah,
I was partying when I was a teenager, no. But you so what happened there?
Yeah, I actually didn't start drinking until I think it was about 23, because I had an alcoholic father, and I watched him drink, and the last thing I wanted to do was to drink and to go down that road, and because of my liking to have girlfriends. I was a habitual engaged. I was engaged to like two girls before I was 23.
Oh wow!
And that last one crushed me. And we were to be married a month and got broken up with a month before our actual wedding.
She dumped you.
She dumped me. Her whole family dumped me.
Okay.
All in one fell swoop. It was brutal. But
because you were drinking.
I hadn't started drinking, and for some reason that was what took it over. I was like, I don't, and I picked up a drink, and I was really kind of religious growing up. I went to church. I did all that stuff, and that I think saved me from going down the roads that I was going down, that eventually I did go down, and that wasn't enough for me to not drink. And so I picked up one day, and it was the best thing. And age 23, and then that's where trouble came in, and I started it went from 0 to 100 for about 12 years.
Wow, crazy, man.
Yeah.
Damn. So you and then it ended with you sort of losing everything, getting rock bottom, all that kind of stuff.
I worked for Sprint for 12 years. I stopped showing up. I got fired from working from home. I got to work from home and couldn't even show up for that. And because
you were drinking.
I was drinking all the time. I was hammered all the time.
Working from home and being a practicing alcoholic.
Oh yeah, it was for the alcoholic's a dream, but it was definitely it crushed everything. I lost that job and lost that career. I lost really everything.
Wow.
In about a month, they got a severance package and lost all of that and needed a job.
Wow.
And I got sober April 29th, 2012.
And you got some help for that,
right?
I assume, right?
And
you go to treatment center and all that kind of stuff?
No, I didn't. I lived about a block from York Street. Didn't even know I was living a block from there.
So people don't know that's local AA, very well-known AA spot here in Denver.
It is. And I just walked in and that was it. And I really needed a job. I talked to a dude, said, "Oh, do you really need a job?" And my ego was shot. I had no ego whatsoever. I was like, whatever you got. I had child support to pay. I had all this kind of stuff. And he said,
roofing.
He said, hey, show up Saturday morning at this place. And I did, and I was knocking doors. I literally got into the roofing at the very bottom rung. Yeah. And just quickly found that I kind of fell in love with the service of it all. Like when you're really dialed in and you can really, you're providing a service to people that have a problem that never thought that they would ever have this problem. And when it happens, like they get hail on the roof or whatever, they don't know what to do. And just being a part of an industry built around service. You can make money at this and all that, but at the end of the day, you have this expertise to do something great for these families that didn't even know that they needed it. And I thought that was just something so cool.
And the insurance pays.
And helping the customer through that process was just so huge.
So you started as a canvasser.
Yeah. And
then did you move into sales at all?
That was like the last thing I did actually. And that was just recently, about a year ago, but, I actually moved in the office and doing like accounts payable stuff.
So they kind of saw, hey, this guy we have a need inside the office. Let's bring him from camp. And this guy's kind of good with that. Is that
right? Kind of. Well, the canvassing manager at the time didn't want to do his own paperwork. So I decided he just said, "Do you know computers?" I'm like, "Yes." It's like, "Here, you're going to do my paperwork now."
Okay.
And I started seeing some weird stuff in that paperwork. So I started cleaning it up. And I, incidentally, by cleaning that up, we're saving the company about $30,000 a quarter.
Wow.
On just bad accounting.
Yeah.
And I came in and started doing AP, paying all the guys, doing all the payments, doing commissions, and then I got to kind of head up getting a new software for the company to better utilize the process.
Was that JobNimbus?
And JobNimbus was the winner on that. Yeah, I looked at a lot of different, and JobNimbus was the one that we could mold to our business, and that was what was really important, is being able to mold a system to what our business looks like. So that it doesn't disrupt too much. You want to be able to have some kind of flow, or at least identify whatever flow you have and help enhance that flow. And that's what I brought from Sprint is, as a process engineer in Sprint, I brought like, this is the fastest process is flow. And if you can find that flow, you're going to be able to succeed in your systems.
Yeah. So, so like, I think a lot of people don't know, when I started Foothills Roofing and Exteriors, you were probably I want to say either the first or the second person that I told, besides my wife, because we met at a JobNimbus summit, where we were learning how to use JobNimbus more effectively. And I was a little nervous back then. I wasn't even sure I was knowing what I was doing really. But there was 2 programs, which, by the way, JobNimbus isn't paying us, and the Breakthrough Academy is not paying us either, although they need to start paying pretty soon here. I knew I needed to get JobNimbus if I was going to start my own company and have a really great CRM. And I also knew I had to do Breakthrough Academy, because Breakthrough Academy helps systematize contracting businesses. And I had already kind of like gone down the road with Breakthrough Academy in my previous company, and I knew that it was extremely important. We didn't complete it because it's a 3-year program. It's pretty intense, but I knew I needed to do that. So I told Danny at Breakthrough Academy. He was one of the first people. He was at JobNimbus Summit, and then I told you as well. And then the 2 sort of like key people. So you and I met right after that, and that's where I think I consider you sort of a roofing consultant type person, because you kind of helped me in general. Well, you got you should do this, you should do that, Absolutely. You should. Definitely JobNimbus is a huge key of this, but you also have to think about, cash flow management. You got to think about this. So, I mean, I didn't feel so alone starting out, it was really cool, at least because, to have you as sort of a second brain that I could bounce ideas off of. And I think, even if I had some kind of like crazy idea and I wanted to, try it, you were definitely always like supportive, but you were also like, maybe think about this too. Right. I don't think you've ever said terrible idea, yet, but yeah. And so you've kind of helped with Foothills Roofing and Exteriors all the way up to now, and so that's probably why I wanted to talk about this, because, you kind of, with JobNimbus, it can get tricky. I mean, I tell everybody, dude, like if you're going to get a CRM and you're going to get JobNimbus, you're going to need some help with customizing it. You can't, I would not recommend just right out of the box, start using it. It's kind of like, it's tricky, and it needs to be changed to your system. Would you agree?
Correct. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's where, when you're looking into something like that, you have to kind of look at your company in general and see like what is working, and finding a good system, like for instance with JobNimbus, is that you don't have to take what comes out of the box. And I think that's what happens a lot, is that it comes out of the box in this certain way. And then you spend time, if you've not worked with anybody, you spend time trying to mold your business into what the system seem like you have all this set up. Like, no, I have to build my system into this. It's like, that's not true. You can actually build the system around what your business is. And what's great about that is that eventually you'll find where your business needs some changing, but you have a system that is going to mold with you. And it's definitely important to have somebody there that might have a little better understanding of how it works, how your job work boards work and how they can work together. And even the details in your automations and those type of things.
Well, with JobNimbus, man, like I didn't even know the difference between contacts and jobs. And I had already been using it for probably a year. Okay. And like I went to this summit and they were like, oh, are you working with jobs or are you working with contacts? And I'm like, what do you mean? I got job. Yeah, I'm doing jobs, but they're like, no, I mean, are you, and then they like look at each other and they're like, I think one guy would be like, he's still on contacts. Yeah. And she'd be like, well, should we change him to jobs? And then I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. What's this driving me crazy? And so, but they tried to explain it. I feel like I didn't get it really until I met you. And it's not to knock the people at JobNimbus. They're amazing people. But I needed someone like you who just could sit right next to me and like not literally hold my hand, but sort of figuratively hold my hand with your computer next to mine and say, well, no, this is how it works. This is the contact. This is a job. This is how you create a job. This is how you work under jobs. This is how you work under contacts. This is how, you know, your job sort of like should go, the process to completion. You know, this is the contact is not to completion. You know, the contact just kind of stays as a contact. And then I'm really hard headed, you know, so it's like, wait, I still don't get it. You're like, okay, well, let's go over it again.
Right.
And with JobNimbus, is like working with them directly, it was a little more challenging. It wasn't like, they didn't have that level of like, cool, I understand. Because you know contractors.
Right.
You know how hard headed we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're sort of technology firm, you know? So you as like an ex contractor, sort of like, you know, in the business, you know how hard headed. Plus you worked with some contractors known as being the most difficult ones in the
it requires
industry.
a lot of patience and a lot of time, and it's not something that it's not a quick fix. And that's the other thing. It's like, the system isn't going to be perfect from the beginning. Being able to kind of foster that growth mentality versus going into it and thinking, okay, this is the answer to everything, all of my problems is this. It's like, no, this is a stepping stone to get you to where you want to go. This is a journey. It's not a fix. And that's where some of the challenges have been, is that going into a system and feeling this is going to fix everything for me. It's like, no, somebody has being there like myself. And like we were talking, it's like, no, let's build a journey here. Let's build a story for you, and your system can do that. And then again, going to the details of, I don't understand how this works, requires a lot of patience. And I think that is something that is necessary through this, because this is not just a quick change to your business. This is a change in the way you run your business. Yeah. And it could be really, really good for you. It could be really good for everybody in your organization. And you can transition from not worrying about where every single thing is, but then focusing on culture and focusing on growth to be able to help your guys build that love of being part of the company, and taking the whole thought process out of the small little details and let your system kind of do that for you. It changes the whole culture of a company by doing that. And I love that. I love the stories that I hear for that.
Well, you know, you and I are obviously, you know, JobNimbus people, but there's a lot of CRMs out there. And I did some research too. I didn't go too crazy, but I actually jumped into another one before JobNimbus because I thought they were better. And I jumped in head first with like our whole organization, my previous company. We kind of went all in, try to get everybody enrolled in it like the first month. And after a month, it was a disaster. You know, we paid a lot of money. We lost a lot of money. It was a complete failure. And I started really discouraged about using a CRM in general. And so I think there are plenty of good CRMs out there. I really do. I don't know that, you know, some CRMs might be better suited for different companies, you know, than JobNimbus even. Sure. However, I think one thing that worked for me was to roll it out slowly. Yes. You know, just the first me use it and start learning it. Right. And then we started rolling out one person at a time, and it got to the point where we built up to having 10 users, you know, and then, but also once, you know, the CRM that you use for 10 users isn't the same CRM that you're going to be using for 20 users, and so on and so forth. So can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe like the sort of the person that like is starting out, and then, or even like just sort of the evolution of your CRM, like, you know?
Sure, absolutely. So I talk about foundations. So the very first part is foundational stuff, the simple things, like blatantly, you know, like lead, sign contract, production, collections, like super simple. And where you're saying like the new contractor coming in, all things that make sense to move to the next stage. So it just makes sense because you're doing it that way. Keep it super simple on that foundational front. As you grow and as you add more people, you add more seats. When I say seats, I mean, or not even seats, hats. So you have your salesperson, then you have your production person, then you have your billing person. Now you're looking at more sectional like handoffs that you're kind of starting to build within your system. Still simple, same foundation, right? Same foundation every single time. But as you build through and add more users, you're adding more responsibilities. And you're adding more responsibility because you need to, because sales are great. You're running your production great because it's super simple and you're getting your jobs done really quickly. The billing's pretty good because everything is happening all at one time. Then you're able to collect money. It's flowing really, really well. So naturally a business needs to grow. So now the next step, add more sales. The more sales, you're going to have a busier production line, and then you're going to have a busy collection. So you kind of just start building your process around and your systems around the process on that mentality. How many handoffs do I need? If I only have 3 handoffs through this process, then this is how it's going to look. As you add more users and add more hats into the game, your process is going to build a little bit. It's going to start growing with you. The goal is not like getting crazy. It's more about allowing it to grow to you, however you're growing and what it makes sense, and also creating a system that it makes it really clear. I think there's a lot of things that happen when it comes to where you're going from 10 to 20. Like who is that next 10, right? A lot of times it's let's just add more sales because we need more sales. Maybe that next 10, a few of them could be a production assistant. Being able to look at a system and seeing where the major bottlenecks are, where the brick walls are, that things are stopping and just sitting there for a while, is a good indicator to see, okay, maybe we're growing and we need somebody for this role in the organization. And then you build your process around that role a little bit more, adding a little bit more depth into your statuses and in your process flow, but not really changing everybody else's piece of the puzzle. Like sales doesn't have to change if you add a production assistant. We're just adding a production assistant because the production manager is too busy to do all the stuff the production assistant needs. You're just making it really clear on how to do that.
Well, then you can use that production. You could say, well, what's this production assistant going to be doing? They can be managing some of the work order statuses.
Exactly.
Because now we had our production manager doing work orders, but now they're getting a little too busy because we added a couple salespeople. So now they got to focus more on just getting materials out and whatnot. Right. So then we have this production assistant to handle our work orders now. New process,
Exactly.
But it's all there inside the CRM, and then we can have a person responsible for those work orders. Right. And then moving them through, and then, following up with subcontractors. Is this work done? Is it completed? Yeah. Following with a production assistant on the field. Hey, can you check on this work? Is it done? Yeah, it's done. Right. Cool. Now let's move that work order over to complete,
Right. And creating those clear baton, you're handing off to this next and very clear. And as you get busier and bigger, it's going to be really important for that. So you won't be able to know you can't have a meeting every single day with some of these people. You have to be able to look at your system and know these are all the things that they're done, and it's in my lane now. I need to manage my lane. That's what's nice too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about is like a production assistant in the office doesn't even really need to talk to the field assistant. Right. If the field assistant is documenting, if he's trained 100%. To document the file. Right. So she can just look, oh, okay, I see here they did this, they did that. Yeah, this works complete. I don't need to talk to anybody. Let's just move that over.
That is the goal. So we're working for like 85 to 90% of the time. The jobs just flow. And then you're the 10%, hopefully 10% of the time, where the things that really need to be dug into, a little bit more information, a little more hand holding in those certain jobs, you have the time to do that. You're not treating every single job as a hand holding job. And that's what you're talking about. You have this field manager, and most of the time it's just this, and this. I'm done. I'm moved to complete. Yeah. And majority of the time, so those jobs are just flowing.
Well, a lot of contractors get in the weeds with all that stuff.
Right. And so and because they feel they have to, because they don't have a clear understanding of where that job is. And that's what I'm talking about, those bottlenecks. They don't know what's going on, so they have to get into the details because they're afraid nothing is being done. Yeah. Where the system is there to create a scenario where it's like, no, everything is right there in front of you. Just read it.
And if you're not sure, just take a look.
Right. You just look at it. You don't have to make you in the day and like have to call everybody to get a status of something. It's all right there. Yeah. And you only have to really dig in on necessary places. And you
can even do it on your phone.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'm not sure about this job. I'm just going to jump on my phone real quick, take a look at this. Right. Or I can pull out my computer at home and check it out, with this one job. So yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. I mean, I know that's what's allowed us to grow as a company pretty quickly right out of the gate, and then also to continue the sales through the no hail year pretty much, and through a COVID year. Yeah. And then now it's allowed me to even have some time to work on the media lab, you know,
Yeah.
with like video production and podcasting and,
Huge.
you know, all that kind of digital marketing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I love doing all that. And I have like, you know, key managers managing our CRM. And if I'm like not sure about something, I get tagged in it, and then I'll just go in my computer and take a look. I don't have to talk to anybody. I just kind of go in there and look at it. It's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think people who want a little more freedom in their schedule, contractors want a little more freedom, and I think contractors want to grow without like, you know, wanting to, you know, become suicidal over it.
Right. Working in their business, and they'd rather work on your business rather than working in your business. And that's where you're and that's where you're at now. And this is, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, like you said, 2 years ago, it was just you. Yeah. And we were digging deep into your processes and into your system. And that's how the system was built. But it allowed you to, having to trust that, okay, this is going to work. That was part of it. It's like, okay, this is going to be like we were talking about, how you were talking about, like, you know, you had lots of ideas, you have all that kind of stuff, but being able to kind of walk with you through it. Yeah. And take some of those risks of hiring your first salesman. That's a risk. And you were able to do that confidently.
I told you I'm very hard-headed, and so I had to take 7 years of being very hard-headed and learning all those lessons of like, man, I wish I had a process here, you know, for every little thing, you know. And so that's why before I launched, it was so important for me to like, let's get our CRM under control here, you know, because I knew we were going to have a lot of sales, you know. I was very confident about that. But I knew that without the CRM, it was going to be a shit show. Yeah. And even honestly, even that first year kind of was still a bit of a shit show. Not to our customers, thank God. I mean, to them, things were going smoothly. But internally, it was still a bit of a shit show, you know, because we're still learning everything, even though we built it out, you know. Now it's a lot different. I mean, it's not really a shit show. We have a job. It's just like, it's very systematized. It's pretty amazing. So
that's awesome.
Well, yeah, so we'll kind of end it on that note, man. I really appreciate you again coming in. And I hope, you know, if there's anybody out here, you can reach out to me on my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can also reach out to Aaron. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I also, through Facebook, come as A True Consulting, and yeah, or message me on Facebook Messenger. I seem to get a lot of people.
Facebook's really great way to just message people, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know. I love using Facebook Messenger and everything. I don't know. I think, so they can just find you on Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
Or my website. I am. A True Consulting on Instagram, and then www.atrueconsulting.com.
You're not on YouTube though?
Not yet.
Maybe we're going to help you with that.
Yeah, it's part of the bucket list here for my company. So,
yeah, that's awesome, man. Cool. All right. So we'll call it a wrap. Thank you again.
Thanks, Armando.